Hi, Nick.
Hi, Alan. Good afternoon or good evening.
Where are you today?
East Coast.
Okay. You at home?
Yes, sir.
Good. Congratulations.
It's 6 o'clock, so we'll get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Urino. I'm the zoning examiner for the city of Tucson. I conduct rezoning hearings on behalf of the mayor and council, make findings of fact, which I put into a written report, along with my recommendation, which I then send along to the mayor and council for their consideration and for their final decision. We have 3 cases on the calendar for this evening's hearing. The first is case TPENT 0523000020, Select Medical, North Wilmot Road. Mr. Beal, who's presenting the staff report?
Mr. Reno, it will be our plant, Samuel Paz, our lead planner.
Thank you. Mr. Paz, would you like to go ahead, sir?
Yes, sir. Good evening. This is a request by Matt Undergraph from Kimley Horn on behalf of the property owner, Select Medical Property Ventures, to rezone a 2.5 acre parcel from O3 office to C3 commercial for the construction of Select Medical Rehab Facility with 66 beds. The proposal includes 1 4-story facility, 62.8 feet in height, and related site work. O3 zoning allows for maximum building height of 40 feet for non-residential uses. A rezoning to C3 is requested to allow for the proposed building height of 62.8 feet. The maximum building height in a C3 zone is 75 feet. This request is aligned with Plan Tucson and the Sewell Hollow Neighborhood Plan Policy. The proposed building height is consistent with surrounding zoning intensity and also with the mid-rise office buildings immediately south and the nearby existing medical facilities. As of today, there is 1 approval, 1 protest, and 1 inquiry received. Staff is in support of this rezoning request.
Thank you, Mr. Paz, and nice to meet you online.
Likewise.
Yep. Mr. Updegraff would like to be heard on behalf of the applicant.
Yes, hi, this is Matt Updegraff. I'm here representing Select Medical for this rezone case. I got a PowerPoint to kind of run through a couple things, if that's all right if I share that.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, just want to give a quick overview of the project. So I'm with Kimley Horn. I'm the engineer of record representing Select Medical Rehab Facility. So as Samuel mentioned before, we are proposing to rezone from office O3 to commercial C3. This will allow for a 4-story, 62.8 foot tall building to better serve the surrounding community. We're proposing to have 66 beds within the 4 stories. Listed on this slide are a few of the discipline areas for the rehab facility. A lot of the patients that will be administered in the facility will be staying long-term. It's not an outpatient facility, so they'll be staying for 2 to 3 weeks to get the rehab and help that they need to recover.
Mr. Updegraff, is that rehabilitation following traumatic injury or other treatment at a hospital, generally speaking?
Yeah, so it's like brain trauma, things of that nature.
Yep.
So,
Thank you.
yep. On this slide, you'll see the overall site plan. I don't want to go too much in depth into this. We've had a pre-app, and there are a couple items that we've worked through with the city as far as like trash enclosures and things like that to make it more friendly for pedestrians that are going to be around the area. But we have great site circulation. We have an abundant amount of parking that meets code, and will serve the proposed building.
If I can ask at this point, is that because there was an inquiry that led me to look at this in more detail? That sidewalk on your north, it's along the private road that serves the apartments to your west. Is that like right on the property line? I see, a chain link fence and then the sidewalk right there. Is that on your property line or what's the deal there?
So the sidewalk kind of meanders the property to the north and our property. We intend to keep that sidewalk intact. We're proposing a drainage swale up in that area, but we intend to keep that intact up there.
It's a pretty narrow sidewalk.
It is. I believe it's 4 feet.
Looked a little less than that to me, but go ahead.
Yeah, so they got the sidewalk up on the north side, and then we have 2 other access points off of Wilmot Road. We have one that's right in this location, and then one that's up here that for people exiting the ambulation course.
Well, you're not intending access from the sidewalk to your facility, are you?
This one here that is.
No, I'm sorry. I see your cursor, so I'm just going to clarify my question. The existing sidewalk to the north along the PAL that serves the apartment complex.
Oh, gotcha. Correct. There won't be access from that sidewalk into our site.
Got it. So go ahead, sir.
You're correct. I guess, did you have any more questions before I move on to the next?
No, go ahead.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay. And then this last slide is just a rendering of the exterior, just to give everybody a view of what it'll look like when it's complete.
Okay.
And that is all I have.
All right. Would anyone in the audience like to be heard on this case? Hearing no one, I will close the public hearing on case.
Oh,
TC.
hey, Mr. Urino, I'm sorry. I was just hunting around for the microphone button. I'm
Oh.
so sorry about that.
No, go right ahead. Start with your name and address, sir.
Yeah, this is Mike Campbell, 5935 East Hampton Street. And I just wanted to open my remarks by thanking PDSD for considering on-site circulation. And I noted in the memo that they sent to you that they did pay attention to the sidewalk and the quality of that pedestrian experience along that private access road to the north. And it was a little unclear to me because of the documents that had been posted online, whether they were kind of the pre-submittal plans and renders I was looking at, or the more or less final submission. And I was wondering on what side of the property line is that chain link fence that separates the parcel subject to rezoning from the parcel to the north with the sidewalk. And I was thinking about potential solutions to this problem of how do you get good pedestrian circulation and meet the code requirements for pedestrian circulation with adjoining properties. And I was wondering if the applicants might be amenable to the idea of covering over that swale, which is a concrete ditch, and using that to effectively widen the sidewalk so you would have better on-site circulation and better access to Wilmot for those apartment buildings to the west, which, I'm not sure what the shade cover would be like in that situation because I was unable to find kind of a plan for how the area would be landscaped. But just getting a wider sidewalk in that area where it directly abuts the road, I think would be such a great improvement. And I was wondering, just what the applicants think of that, and whether or not there's anything that would make that an untenable solution.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Before I ask Mr. Updegraff to respond, I want to know, is there anyone else in the audience who would like to be heard on this case?
Hello?
Hearing no one, Mr. Updegraff, would you provide?
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes,
Start with your
yes,
name and address, please.
yes, Elizabeth Knepper, Knepper, and
Yes.
I'm a resident of the Wilmot North Apartments, which is adjacent to your proposed structure, 445 North Wilmot Road. And I'm a
Go
resident
right ahead then,
there.
please.
Yes, I'm representing the residents here as a tenant representative, and we're all greatly concerned about the generator noise that will impact our health and peaceful existence. So I'm wondering if it would be possible, if the building is approved and built, if you might consider installing an acoustic barrier structure that could help reduce the decibel noise and energy that will travel from your generator in the direction of our apartment building facing north of your site. Many of the seniors, including myself, have ear issues, especially sensitivity to sound. Or if you, and also could possibly install the generator to the farthest south end, which would be further away from the Wilmot North apartment complex. So I don't know. I know generators can be quite loud. That was what our main concern was here in our building, right next door.
Thank you, Ms. Knepper, for your comments, and we'll turn to those in just a minute. Would anyone else in the audience like to be heard on this case? I believe no one. So hearing no one, Mr. Updegraff, would you respond to Mr. Campbell's concern and Ms. Knepper's concern?
Yes, of course. Mr. Campbell, we appreciate the comment. I think this is something that we can definitely take a look at. Since that sidewalk does kind of meander the property line, we're gonna have to really look in depth to see what we can do to, make that work for both properties. So it's something we'll definitely take into consideration. And then Ms. Knepper, same to you. Appreciate the comment. So the generator is for emergencies only. So it won't be running all the time. And in addition to that, there is a wall that runs around it. And then to address your comment about moving the generator to the south, we do have some site constraints that we are held to. There's existing storm drains and there's some existing utilities that are running through the bottom of the site. So we found that keeping it in an enclosure over on the west side of the property would be best. But we will definitely take your comment into consideration as far as noise and acoustic barriers go.
What about the air conditioner? Wouldn't that be full time, all running all the time? But wouldn't that be part of the generator noise?
It would be separate. They're two separate things.
So as to the generator, which is for emergencies only, Mr. Updegraff, you say there's a wall around it. What size wall is that?
Give me one sec here and I'll
Sure.
verify. Yeah.
Matt, this is Steve Grisham with GW3 Architects. The wall around the generator is 12 feet high.
12 feet high?
Yeah, and it's a 2-hour enclosure. And it also is kind of positioned to help us with some electrical feeders and distances from the main building. I know there was a generator on site before. I'm not sure how it was configured or where it was located exactly, but I think it had a chain link fence, which is obviously going to be louder than what we've got. The noise ought to be directed more in an upward direction. We can talk to our engineers about what it would entail to do some acoustical installation on it, if that's helpful.
I think that is helpful and appreciate the comments. And then where is the AC unit located? And if you could respond to Ms. Knepper's concern
Sure.
about that, that would be helpful.
We have rooftop units, so they're going to be on top of the 4-story building. All the compressors will be up there on the roof.
Okay.
And they are not.
Will
They're only tied.
Will they be loud?
No, they're going to be very quiet. We want them to be quiet for the patients, so they're
Okay.
pretty quiet units. They're insulated real well, and have vibration isolation on them. But, as Matt said, the units are on the main power that's from the energy company at all times until we need, emergency power. Now, they do get exercise periodically, but it's for a short period of time. They have mandatory testing they have to, or running of those units or the generator to meet this, CMS standards and that sort of thing. So, but again, I bet it's probably gonna be quieter than what you had there before, because of these masonry walls are 12-inch thick and 12 feet tall. They're gonna help absorb a lot of that sound.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Grisham. Mr. Updegraff, do you have anything else for me?
I think that covers everything.
Okay, thank you. I'm closing the public hearing on case TPENT 0523-00020. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. The next case is case TPENT 0523-00021 Tire Mart. Mr. Paz, are you presenting on this one?
I am, thank you, sir. This is a request by Aaron Harris of Kinley Horn Engineering to rezone approximately 7.7 acres from C2 commercial to C3 commercial zoning. This site is currently occupied by Pilot Travel Center. The rezoning area is located at the northeast corner of Craycroft Road and the Interstate I-10 frontage road. The preliminary development plan proposes a one-story building, 20 feet high, with a building footprint of 3,500 square feet. The building would be constructed for a new Southern Tire Mart location, adding a secondary land use, which is trade service and repair major. This is not a permitted use in C2 zoning, therefore a rezoning to C3 would be required to proceed with this development. The proposal is aligned with Plan Tucson and Recon Southeast Sub-Regional Plan Policy, compatible with existing land use. As of today, there is no approval protest recorded. Staff is in support of this rezoning request.
Thank you, Mr. Paz. Ms. Harris, would you like to be heard?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Iannarino and Mr. Paz, for your introductions to the project. And I'd like to share on my screen the concept plan for what it is that we're proposing. Can you all see a PDF?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So as mentioned in the staff report, there is an existing travel center that is already out here, and the pilot building and its operations will all remain unchanged. Our proposal is for this additional service to be added for those customers to service those semi trucks as needed at the Tire Mart. It's a pretty small area situated within the existing parking lot back here for the semi trucks. But because it is all one parcel under one ownership, the rezoning request is for the entire parcel, not just this little isolated building. There are no other improvements or expansions planned on the site other than this Tire Mart.
Okay, thank you very much. Would anyone in the audience like to be heard on this case? Hearing no one, I'm closing the hearing on case TPENT 0523-00021. Thank you for your participation, Ms. Harris. The last case is case TPENT 0523-00022, Irvington Road, Mission Village, original city zoning.
So, Mr. Reno, this is an application by the city of Tucson to establish original city zoning on recently annexed parcels. The parcels are located on the northwest and southwest corners of the intersection of Mission Road and Irvington Road. Original city zoning is required by the Arizona Revised Statutes and the Unified Development Code. The established procedure is to translate the county zoning in place before annexation into the most appropriate city zoning classification. Any lawful existing development will be allowed to continue, and property status regarding non-conforming uses and structures will be determined as needed on a case-by-case basis. The Mission Village Annexation District, consisting of approximately 13 acres of real property in Ward 1, the district consists of undeveloped commercial and residential property and is within the obligated water service area of Tucson Water. A public hearing was held January 24th, 2023, and at the close of the public hearing, mayor and council directed staff to proceed with the annexation. The translation is from County SH and CB1 into the city's translation of SH and C1, and also translating the county MSNR into the city MSNR for Irvington Road. Land policies are not applied to original city zoning. Any future rezoning request of annexation land must be in conformance with adopted land use plans. Consistent with state statute and the Unified Development Code, the city translation zones provided above are the most comparable to the Pima County zones and do not permit densities and uses greater than those permitted by the county. Translation to the city zones with conditions to reflect pre-annexation in any agreements would be appropriate, and the staff recommends approval for the city translation. As of today's date, there's been 1 approval and 0 protest.
Thank you, Mr. Beal. Mr. Chakowski, does the applicant have anything to add to the staff report?
Thank you, Mr. Urino. We do not have anything to add.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else in the audience like to be heard on this case? Hearing no one, I'm closing the hearing on case TPENT 0523000022. And I hope everyone has a lovely evening, and let's hope for some rain. Good night.
Right.